there! So the book I'm going to talk to you about today is The Hunger Games. I know I'm probably one of the last people in the entire world to read this book, and I had been meaning to read it for a really long time. I had heard about them a while ago when a friend of mine bought the 3 books within a couple of days. She actually sacrificed her food money for the week so she could buy the 3 books, and she just was coming to me, she's like, I don't have a choice, I have to read them, I have to know what happens. So I knew they were going to be good then, but I kept putting it off, and this month I was like, the movie's coming out this month, you really have to read this now. So I had only planned on reading the first one, the Hunger Games, this month, so I could have read it before the movie came out, and that didn't happen because I couldn't stop reading. I started reading The Hunger Games, and then I read it in about 2 days. Then I read the next 2 books. I think I read them in about a week. It took me about 2 days to read each book, even though I was working at the time, so that's basically all I did for the past week. I read the Hunger Games trilogy, and I did work. I'm really glad I read them because they were really, really good. I'm only going to talk about the first one, The Hunger Games, and then I'm going to make another 2 videos with Catching Fire and Mockingjay, because otherwise they're going to be way too long. Basically the story takes place in a post-apocalyptic kind of world where the country that they live in is called Panem, and it's in North America. The country is basically made up of the capital where all the rich people live, and then there's 12 districts, and each district kind of specializes in a particular thing that the capital needs, like agriculture or, you know, energy. So Katniss is the main character, and she lives in District 12, which is the coal mining district. The book starts off when she's in the forest, I think, with her best friend Gale. One, I love him because he's pretty, even though it's in my head. 2, I love him because that's also my name. So, you know, it's meant to be. So Katniss and Gale have been friends for years, and both of their fathers have died in the mines, so they've got a lot in common. They both go into the woods, even though it's illegal to hunt, to provide their family with food. Then they tell you about the Hunger Games and what is called the Reaping. There was a rebellion with the capital about 75 years ago, and then to punish the districts for the rebellion, the capital decided to start this thing called the Hunger Games, which is where every year they take 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl from each district, and they throw them into an arena in a kind of battle royale scenario where only one can survive, and they basically have to kill each other off. They do this not only to punish the districts, but also it's a very popular source of entertainment within the capital, which is strange. There's a lot of weird kind of themes where you're presented with a society that's mostly suffering, and then there's the elites that are just so cut off from reality and sense that they really enjoy watching children kill each other. It's very odd. It's kind of hard to imagine in a way. After you are explained basically what the Reaping is and how every parent kind of has to dread the possible loss of their children, the Reaping happens in District 12, and Katniss's younger sister Primrose gets called for the Hunger Games. Of course, you know, for people who have siblings, if you think about being that kind of a position, the only thing you can do is volunteer. So that's what Katniss does. She, as soon as her sister's name is called, she volunteers to take her place. The other person called is a boy called Peeta, and they're not really friends. They haven't really spoken to each other. I don't think they've ever spoken to each other, actually. I was wondering why Gale didn't go and volunteer instead of Peeta to protect Katniss, but it did make sense that he then promises to look after her family when she dies. She's not very hopeful at the start that she's going to survive. She you know, she doesn't even think too much about the fact that she's going to have to fight. She thinks more about the fact that she's going to die. The book has a really great atmosphere. After the reaping, Kat and Peeta go off to the capital. They get to see how strange the capital is and what kind of world other people live in. And I think throughout the entire book, it really creates this kind of atmosphere where you get sucked into the world, and you just, when you're finished reading the books, you don't really know what to do because there's just nothing left and you've been living in this, you know, other world for a while. I really liked it. It's very fast paced. There's quite a good amount of twists, and you know, there's some kind of romance as well. You don't really get to see much of Gale's character in it, apart from in flashbacks and the main introduction before she gets taken away during the reaping. And the other love interest is Peeta, who is just, he's so sweet, and you just really want him to get Kat because he's so lovely, and it just it makes you feel so awful. You want people to stop being dicks and killing children, and you just want them to be happy, but then you really want Katniss to end up with Gale as well, because in terms of the characters, you know, Gale is the strong, sexy, you know, lifelong friend, and then Peeta is the also very attractive, because they have to be very attractive, otherwise it wouldn't be interesting. The also very attractive person that she hadn't been friends with before, but she develops this bond with in this intensely stressful and life-threatening situation. In terms of, I know there's a lot of like Team Peeta and Team Gale thing going on, and after the first book it's kind of hard to pick a person that you want her to end up with. You kind of want her to end up with both. So yeah, it's after this book I'm still undecided. In terms of Katniss's character, I really liked her because she was a very strong female character. You know, she's a hunter, and she's great at killing things with her bow, so you know that's going to come in handy when she's put in an arena where she has to basically kill people to survive. Obviously, I gave The Hunger Games 5 stars out of 5 because I can't help it. It's just, it was so good. I really like them. I'm finished reading all the books now, and I'm still really, really giddy because I'm in that post, you know, trilogy reading mode, and it's so good, and then at the same time I'm so empty because there's no more. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will hopefully post the rest of the videos sometime this week. Bye!